All right, so up until now, we've learned about CRUD operations. And that means that you understand and comprehend what Mongoose has to offer us. So now that you've mastered that, we can continue with our next project. Now, remember, from the very beginning of the course, I said that when we're working with Mongoose, we're actually working with the interface to Mongo. So its main aim is to give us a better API. In other words, functionality to work with Mongo. All right, so we make all of our operations through Mongoose, but we can actually directly reach Mongo database as well. So in other words, it's just a really good wrapper around Mongo. And now we're going to talk about the amazing functionality that Mongoose enables us to have around Mongo. And this functionality is not implemented in Mongo by default. So although we use Mongoose to work with Mongo, it gives us an opportunity to work with some features which don't really exist, and they aren't actually implemented in MongoDB. You copy? So now I want to tell you about validation, which is particular and special to Mongoose. And it's the process of evaluating to see if the properties are safe to be saved to the database. So we're going to add a validation here and say that in order to be valid, students have to have a name with more than 2 characters. So here we see 3 different students with different names, and the first and the third one will be valid because they have more than 2 characters in their names. However, look at the second one. The second instance is not valid, and I mean it's invalid because it is only 2 characters. I mean, obviously these are these rules that I've made up, right? So in Mongoose, invalid means that it shouldn't be saved inside of the database. What's that all about? Well, its purpose is to prevent students to get shortened names and thereby insert junk data and perhaps even profanity. So I want to note here that there is nothing about Mongo here, right? The whole validation process is implemented by Mongoose. It just has support, but there's no direct relation. Now again, we'll pursue the same path like we do in other operations. So that means we're going to start by creating a new file, and we'll check there if we get the results we want. So inside the test folder, we'll create a new test file named validation test.js. And we're going to put some boilerplate, as always. At the top, we require both assert and student model and describe the test as validation. And arrow function. Now, it's obvious that we don't need to put before each statement and declare JSON. So here we're adding a new it block, and right name is required. All right, so we've already mentioned, but first we want to create a new student and then see if we can save it accordingly by its validity. So in the next video, we're going to see how to implement its purpose.